Infinite Flow+Main Plot+Cool Text+Dual line business, on how false the persona of the entertainment industry is. Sue Ran is a famous vase for entertainment. Apart from her face, she is a useless dim sum with no value. When the scary world comes to the entertainment circle, everyone gradually realizes. What is a vase? She is a crazy critic who carries a huge axe to cut down the door, and a bitter-tongued beauty who complains about Zhenzi. What is a vase? While drawing a pancake for you, I used a lightning spell to kill the ruthless characters of the troublemakers. When others were still escaping, she had already led her own NPC army and began to fight in all directions, and it was only then that everyone understood Sue Ran is not only a bug in the entertainment industry, but also the great demon king in the thrilling world. As the only designated heir of the orthodox sect, she firmly believes in materialism, does not engage in feudal superstition, dominates the entertainment industry with her appearance, and is a woman who can pass dungeons with her strength. Keywords of the novel. When the world of horror descends, there are no pop-ups in the entertainment industry. When the world of horror descends, there are no pop-ups in the entertainment industry. Download the full text. When the world of horror descends, read the latest chapters in the entertainment industry. Chapter 1. Internal Entertainment Elimination Tournament. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Internal Entertainment Elimination Tournament. Sitting in front of the huge French window on the top floor of the 5-star hotel, Sue Ran, who has just bathed, brushes the gossip in the entertainment circle with her mobile phone. The long eyelashes conceal light and shadow, reflecting in the enchanting peach blossom eyes. Worst artists in the entertainment industry selection, Sue Ran chuckled softly, knowing that she must be the first place without opening the link. As a well-known female celebrity in the entertainment industry, apart from this face. Her acting skills include pulling her hips, singing out of tune, and dancing like rehabilitation, but unfortunately, she has become very popular on the star path. There is no other reason, who made Sue Jia beautiful, Lu Zai, and Nu complete her work. Even if everyone black Sue Ran had no talent or virtue, no one would say that Sue Ran was ugly. She is relying on her face to unify the aesthetic ceiling of the entertainment industry. Sue Ran, who was planning to take a beauty nap, had just woken up and turned off her phone, with text messages popping up wildly. Congratulations to Sue Ran for winning first place in the selection of the worst artist in domestic entertainment. Congratulations to Sue Ran for being selected for the Internal Entertainment Escape competition. Now, please prepare to welcome the start of the thrilling escape game. 3.2.1 Suddenly, a blood-red app appeared on the phone. In the next second, the world's light and shadow twisted, completely engulfed by darkness before my eyes. When Sue Ran opened her eyes again, she stood in the endless cold black mist. Because she had just finished bathing, Sue Ran's fragile skin was still stained with moisture. It is painful to tremble. Shoulders, delicate eyebrows, and eyes seem to contain a clear spring, fragile like jasmine blooming in rainstorm. Congratulations on coming to the thrilling world, entertaining the escape game inside, rejecting unscrupulous artists, refusing celebrities to flaunt themselves, cleaning up the entertainment industry. Everyone has a responsibility. A eerie black mist enveloped Sue Ran's side, and the floating huge eyeballs slowly opened their eyes in mid-air. Scarlet eyes accompanied by mechanical sounds enveloped the entire world of black mist. This is an entertainment escape game with no rules or restrictions. Hope everyone can complete the assessment according to the task prompts, survive smoothly until the end, and death will be erased. By completing the level, you can receive skill point rewards to help you complete your studies at top-tier training colleges. Clusters of bonfires were lit, and the light dissipated some of the black mist. The eerie black smoke, accompanied by a pungent smell, slowly burned. Sue Ran held her breath sharply, with mottled marks on the black soil ground, and the dark red color was shocking. At this moment, figures kept coming out of the black mist, very close in distance. She seemed to feel the sound of breathing and disapproving screams brushing past her. The front is a recently popular male star, although I can't remember his name. But I heard that the brokerage company spent a lot of money on marketing the image of the abstinent male god, which has attracted a lot of fans. Wipe, what kind of place is this? Why should I listen to your arrangements? Which program are you on? I want to sue you for illegal detention. The angry man didn't seem to understand the situation, kicked over the campfire beside him, and charged forward with the burning torch. Su Ran frowned and retreated, hiding among the people, just wanting to stay away from this brainless and foolish guy. Su Ran was very clear in her heart that she had been preparing to sleep in the hotel before. If it's not a very powerful ability, there's absolutely no way to instantly pull everyone into this space. Warning. 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 Failure to comply with game rules will result in system erasure. 3.2.1. The man's screams and curses did not stop, and the huge eyeballs floating in the sky blinked like instruments. Countless small eyeballs flew out and gathered towards the man, with red lasers connected to each other, sweeping directly over him. All the voices came to an end, and the man slowly scattered like a slice in an instant. The sprayed blood splattered everywhere, turning into a puddle of mud and merging into the black soil. The screams of terror tore through the darkness, and many people sought refuge everywhere. Various sounds of vomiting echoed in the ears, and layers of cold sweat surged from behind. But Su Ran dared not make any changes and could only hide in the crowd. If you pass the preliminary assessment, you will have the opportunity to enter the top-tier internal entertainment training college and become a new student in Class F. After multiple assessments, we will cultivate our own attributes and develop comprehensively. We will create the strongest entertainment superstar in the world of horror. The mechanical broadcast repeated the rules again, with an eyeball floating behind each person, as if warning everyone that anyone who dares to cause trouble will be mercilessly erased. Everyone has their own unique skills, and with the improvement of their abilities, they can also comprehend more skills. Each successful completion will earn attribute points, which can cultivate your exclusive abilities according to your own development direction, allowing you to gain more assistance in the future. Each assessment can complete all tasks, and students who pass the level perfectly can receive additional lottery opportunities. Students who finish last in each round will be eliminated. The sound disappeared, and a folding space lit up in front of everyone, which was the dungeon space for the preliminaries. Only by successfully passing the level and surviving until the end can one be eligible to enter the top-tier training academy. The result of the failure is obvious, and the outcome is nothing more than being similar to the man just now. Su Ran kept taking deep breaths, forcing herself to calm down. There were many cries around her, and after scanning around, there were actually a few acquaintances. I don't know how many people can survive after this qualifier, but Su Ran stepped into the spotlight. The intense feeling of falling made people dizzy, and it was only a few seconds later that they felt like they were touching the ground and standing firm. Behind me was an endless night, and in front of me was an old corridor entrance and exit. There are faint lights on, the cement stairs are dirty, and there are scattered dark red mottled marks on the decaying and rusty handrails. Her storyline settings and mission requirements are displayed in the void. Su Ran, age 18 years old, identity stepdaughter. After her biological mother remarried and gave birth to a younger brother, she couldn't bear her husband's alcoholism and domestic violence and fled the family. Her whereabouts are currently unknown. Her original family has encouraged her to grow up, so please don't miss any details. Friendly reminder. Each clue is important. Successfully completing the main quest is necessary to pass the dungeon. Death will be erased by the real-world main task. Go home. Side task 1. Neighborhood harmony is the only way to get news and help. Side task 2. Find mom. Hidden task. Make my brother happy, player. Su Ran, potential. Unknown, level F, skill. My beauty is invincible in the world. Giving critical hits with beauty can make the opponent follow your instructions for 10 seconds, and each skill upgrade can extend the effect by 10 seconds. Each instance is limited to 3 uses. You only need your thoughts to control the attribute panel in the void and continue reading, displaying the constantly changing attributes. Intelligence. Unknown, physical fitness. Unknown, combat power. Unknown, lucky score. 1. Seeing the unknown rating, Su Ran was not so surprised. She just raised her eyebrows slightly and exclaimed that this system is really intelligent, but why is her lucky value only 0.1? Hurry up and save it, otherwise I'll take you to become an NPC. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Finding the Way Home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Finding the way home. She has no memory of the original owner in her mind, and all tasks should be completed inside this building. But now she doesn't even know where her home is, so she can only ask her neighbors for directions. By the way, complete task 2 of the branch line to maintain neighborhood harmony and gather useful information. Standing at the entrance of the old corridor, lift your head. Lock in several floors with lights on, namely 701, 502, and 101. First, check with these floors to confirm if anyone is inquiring. Knocking on the door of 101, a dull sound echoed through the quiet corridor. Slightly harsh, there was no response inside the back door after listening for a long time. But Su Ran could be certain that there was someone behind the door, with their cat's eyes flickering bright and dark. Someone was staring at her from the cat's eye and observing. The sticky gaze was disgusting, but Su Ran dared not act recklessly. Pretending to be alone, he muttered to himself, "Is there no one around? I'll go ask other neighbors and see." The sound of footsteps kept moving upwards and gradually faded away, and after 20 minutes, the door of 101 slowly opened. The foul and unpleasant smell filled the hallway, and a pair of red bloodshot eyes stared closely at Su Ran's departure direction in the crevices. In the darkness, Su Ran did not let the induction light in the hallway feel her presence. She hid at the corner and clearly felt the eerie eyes of 101. After waiting for a long time, the door quietly closed, and the pungent odor in the hallway was isolated and gradually dissipated. Su Ran, who was too bold to breathe, slowly narrowed her eyes. She was shocked to escape the world, and it was reasonable for anything strange to exist. I didn't scare the cat out of the grass, in order not to arouse suspicion from 101. This time, Su Ran almost tiptoed slowly up the stairs. The induction lights on each floor flickered on and off, leaving only the 4th floor trapped in darkness. It seems that the light bulb has poor contact and occasionally emits a hissing electric current sound. I don't know what's splashing on the cement floor, it's sticky and difficult to take a step. Upon arriving at the 701 door smoothly, Su Ran knocked lightly again and soon heard a sound of footsteps. What's up at night? The door was pushed open, and a cold wind swept through my hair. The woman's head was exposed inside the door, and upon seeing Su Ran, a warm smile immediately appeared. Su Ran stood a little further away, squeezing her clothes tightly. The cold sweat wet her thin white dress again, and she still forced herself to show an equally warm smile, just a bit stiff and shy. "Xiao Su, it's so dangerous to go upstairs so late. You child, you don't know how to be careful." A woman in her 40s, with a slightly rounded figure and a gentle voice. If that head wasn't raised high and swayed with a gentle breeze, as if it was about to fall off at any moment, Su Ran would probably smile more naturally. Slightly awkwardly squeezing her hand, Su Ran, who claimed to be the worst performer in the industry, unleashed all her abilities. "Auntie, I came back too late today and didn't buy any groceries outside." She asked for help, seeing Su Ran's cowardly appearance. Her thin and weak body was covered under an empty white skirt. The aunt still had a hint of pity on her face, and the shaking of her head became increasingly intense, bending into a strange angle. "Silly child, what's going on in your family? Aunt Ching doesn't know yet." It's okay. My son brought you a lot of things today, so I'll get you some." Aunt Ching turned and walked towards the kitchen, and Su Ran leaned slightly to see the entire living room. Furniture made of pure ceramic, like burial decorations, exudes a green luster, clean and tidy, without any odor. With her head shaking, Aunt Cheng raised her hand and straightened her position, holding several ceramic vegetables in a plastic bag and handing them to Su Ran. Xiao Su, if you have anything to do in the future, just call me downstairs and don't go upstairs. It's not safe here at night, so stay at home and don't go out. The obedient and sensible Su Ran nodded in agreement, and the so-called vegetables in the heavy bag should not be eaten either. But although Aunt Cheng's head was about to fall out, she kept reminding her to pay attention to safety, so she shouldn't be a bad person. Aunt Cheng, don't worry, I know now. I'll bring you the vegetable money tomorrow, can I? A harmonious neighborhood relationship can provide help and clues, and Su Ran doesn't want to give up the task. Maybe she can become a life-saving talisman. No, there's still a lot of things at Aunt Cheng's house. As you know, my son is very filial and often comes to deliver things. Be careful when you go downstairs. There seem to be some taboos that could not be mentioned. Aunt Cheng didn't say much, just silently mentioned a 4-word phrase. Su Ran nodded and said she knew. The two of them silently bid farewell, and Su Ran, carrying things down, began to organize all the information. 101 has someone, but their attitude towards themselves is unclear. Aunt Cheng from 701 is a good person. You can continue to investigate. The induction light on the 4th floor is broken and there is a danger. Upon receiving the prompt, Su Ran was even more careful and slowed down her pace when going downstairs this time. Until the 5th floor, I heard a strange sound. The door of 502 is open, and a pair of men and women are entangled at the door, as if they are reluctant to part ways and kiss each other. But the two of them were perched on each other at an incredibly eerie angle. Spicy eyes. Brother, someone is here, please stop making trouble. A sharp voice, as if a man was pinching his throat, emanated from his eerie body. The two of them let go of each other and stared closely at Su Ran, who was sneaking down the stairs with her cat. Isn't this a distressed princess living in the basement? She dares to come upstairs in the middle of the night, not afraid of being eaten downstairs. Su Ran heard a slight confusion in the voices of the two, as if the man's voice was deliberately lowered by a woman. The body is twisted together and eerie like a hermaphrodite, unable to distinguish gender. Although the two of them had strange and peculiar shapes, they provided her with crucial information. She lives in the basement and knows there is a problem on the 4th floor. Without answering the man's question, Su Ran asked in reverse, "Are you going out?" "This is the 5th floor." Aunt Cheng hinted to her that the 4th floor is not safe. If she could travel together, it would give her a lot of peace of mind. Xiao Su wants to go out with her brother. Damn it. She wants to seduce you. The snake-like woman quickly extended her arm and hooked it around the man's neck. Seeing Su Ran frown again, her eyes are really sharp. "I'm sorry, I have a fear of ugliness and can't stand you two disgusting guys. Goodbye." Standing on the stairs, looking towards the 4th floor, accompanied by scattered lights on the 5th floor, one can vaguely see that the 4th floor is covered with spells. Silently swayed slightly with the sweeping wind, it was clear that there were no windows in corridor. It seems that the giant beast's breathing, hidden in the darkness, disturbed the rune paper. Su Ran thought she had expressed herself clearly enough, and the woman who was fighting with each other screamed again. Disappointed, "Ah, brother," she said, "your little one is ugly, help me eat her." "Cluck cluck, are you an old hen? Do you want to lay eggs? I'm so annoyed. The game is starting, O, greater than or equal to V less than or equal to, O, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. The Way Home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The way home. As soon as Su Ran turned around, he saw the guy who had just twisted on the woman hovering down, really rushing towards her like a snake. The porcelain vegetables filled with plastic bags were smashed hard on the man's head. The winding bloodstains scattered like stars on the stairs on the fourth floor and quickly disappeared, as if some invisible creature was devouring the blood. Don't worry, the quality of this porcelain is really amazing. The snake man's head was bleeding, and the vegetables were not broken at all. He picked up a large carrot and stuffed it directly into the snake man's mouth. The big radish, shining with porcelain cold light, was stuffed into the snake man's mouth, unable to be chewed or swallowed. Choking in his throat, the snake man's face gradually turned red and his eyes widened. The twisted snake body spiraled upwards towards Su Ran, trying to struggle to bind her to death. Su Ran directly pinched his 7 inches and flexibly tied his long body to the iron armrest, then turned her head and saw the snake woman again. Remember, I have phobia, aversion to foolishness, and a bad temper. If you giggle and lay eggs with me again next time, I'll take you. The snake woman looked at Su Ran, who was fierce, and retreated with a rustle. Hiding inside the door, he poked out the human head and whispered, "Are you the legendary Taoist who subdues demons and demons?" If it weren't for the thrilling world, Su Ran would even feel that this scene was a bit ridiculous. But now her mind is full of tasks, and she doesn't have the mood to play around with these two people with snake spirit disease. But her situation is indeed somewhat special. Su Ran has a lot of negative feedback in the circle, such as dropping out of high school and not continuing her studies. What is favored by the big shots, the Gold Lord escorts all the way. In the end, with this perfect face that Nui deliberately flaunted her skills, she successfully debuted and quickly became popular. There are countless examples of capital support and foolish beauties who use it to make money. But she really doesn't have any wealthy or influential individuals. She grew up in a Taoist temple on the mountain. As an orphan, she learns whatever the old Taoist teaches. Since going to school, she has firmly adhered to her materialist spirit, believing that burning incense and praying for blessings are all futile superstitions. Besides, she doesn't have any yin and yang eyes. She grew up in a Taoist temple and had a positive yang energy. She didn't dare to approach evil, so naturally she had never seen a ghost. This further strengthened her belief that after the founding of the People's Republic of China, becoming a fairy was not allowed, and there were no demons or monsters. Do you know what's on the 4th floor? The snake girl hid at the door, shaking her head cautiously, afraid of disturbing the monsters on the 4th floor. Su Ran frowned slightly. Are you sure you won't say it? He's almost out of breath. The snake man tied to the armrest by her was panting like an old bellows, constantly rolling his eyes. Watching his beloved brother tie up in a bough, Su Ran looked pitiful and shed tears of heartache. Suppressing the fear of rustling, she crawled to Su Ran's side in a very low voice. I only know that downstairs is a woman, the strongest vengeful ghost in the building. She hates your family very much, and under the talisman, there are curses against you. However, she is sealed and cannot leave the 4th floor. According to the clues provided by the snake woman, Su Ran began a brainstorm. Branch task 2 is to search for a mother, but even if her biological mother has no feelings for her and stepfather, she shouldn't harbor hatred towards her youngest son, right? But there are no other women in the person information she received. Who is she really? Later, the snake woman patiently explained the current situation, and ordinary ghosts and monsters were just the kind of newly arrived creatures like Aunt Cheng. Most of them retain their former appearance, without ability or malice, and can coexist peacefully with most residents. There is also a second type of evil soul that is unwilling and constantly being eroded. Just like how snake men and snake women start to mutate and gradually lose their humanoid form, they need to hunt down humans entering the dungeon to obtain food sources, and occasionally they also kill each other to increase their abilities. The third type is to blame ghosts. Those who wrongly accuse the deceased will merge with the black mist, often lacking in intelligence and only enjoying the pleasure of killing. As for the bigger monsters, she had never seen them before. Only the vengeful ghosts on the 4th floor are the strongest here, and no one dares to provoke them. As for the snake man and snake woman, they are an ungrateful couple who, after sacrificing their love, are fused into the dungeon by the thrilling world. Gradually suffering from erosion, the constantly expanding desire in their hearts caused the two of them to undergo mutations, occasionally luring some humans into using them as reserves of food. They are all old NPCs and have long been accustomed to humans entering and exiting within dungeons. Occasionally, they will perform in conjunction with the script, otherwise they may be easily erased by the system, and those who seriously violate the rules and leak information may even be wiped out. Neighborhood harmony can indeed bring a lot of news, and Su Ran was very satisfied and patted the snake girl's head. After whispering a few commands, I decided to fight quickly and go home quickly. As long as you complete the main task, you can successfully pass the level. Borrow it from your boyfriend and bring it home later. Holding on to the snake man's hair, Su Ran held on to the porcelain vegetables and did not let go. Stepping against the wall and borrowing strength, he jumped down the stairs from the 5th floor. Lightly jumping up again on the ground of the 4th floor, following behind with a chilly wind. It was like opening her huge mouth in the darkness to pursue her, but Su Ran's body was faster. With the help of the inertia of the snake man's body, Su Ran stood steadily on the ground on the 3rd floor. The induction light then lit up, as if dissipating the cold wind chasing behind. The chill on Su Ran's skin gradually dissipated. Turning his head, he saw the snake man with a porcelain radish stuffed in his throat already rolling his eyes, his whole body soft and lying on the handrail, spreading from the 5th floor to the 3rd floor. To be honest, it's a bit pitiful. Su Ran, who didn't want to lose the help of the snake woman, silently raised her hand and pulled out the big carrot. The snake man, who was breathing lightly, reluctantly exhaled a breath. Not dead. Hurry up and take your boyfriend back, otherwise it will get cold. After Su Ran's reminder, the snake girl carefully pulled her boyfriend upstairs. Crying, he said, "Brother, I've told you all that except for me, women are very scary. Don't you believe me? You know now, humans are really cunning. Next time, we won't deceive these guys into using them as reserves." As the snake woman's chatter gradually faded away, she had already taken the snake man home and closed the door tightly. I have decided that I will never have any relationship with Su Ran again in this life. As expected, everything in the movie is right. The more beautiful a woman is, the more deceitful she is, and the more ruthless she is. Su Ran, holding porcelain and vegetables in her hand, quickly descended the stairs and returned to the 1st floor. The cat's eyes were still flickering, and he glanced at the door of room 101 and kicked it hard. Labor and management are not available now. If they find you peeking again, they will dig out your eyeballs and make wine. Well, a little warning to the neighbors. Not letting him go further on the path of crime, she is truly a kind neighbor. The stairs descended again, although there were also induction lights. But that cold feeling kept lingering on Su Ran's skin. She was shivering with coldness, and there were no rooms in the deep corridor. At the innermost stands a decaying wooden door, which should be her home. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Going Home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Going Home. Congratulations to Su Ran for successfully completing main task 1. Going Home, now main task 2 content update. Survive until dawn. Surprisingly, the main quest has been updated. Su Ran stood outside the door in shock, in a quiet environment without even a faint sound. She was not clear about what kind of creatures the family was supposed to face. Creatures. It's unlikely, judging from the extent to which the snake woman has been eroded, there is at least one evil soul waiting for her at home. As the night grew darker, the moonlight seemed to completely hide in the thick clouds. Because Su Ran had not moved for a long time, the induction light automatically turned off. The entire basement was plunged into complete darkness, and the decaying wooden door creaked and slowly opened. The pungent smell of human flesh and blood rotting, accompanied by the constant spread of alcohol. Taking 3 steps back, the induction light once again lit up with a faint yellow halo. The piercing cold and unpleasant smell rushed towards me. The room was piled up with piles of white bones, and the flesh and blood of decaying maggots accompanied a ball of rotten flesh like creatures crawling. My dear daughter has returned, Jie Jie. She is truly a pure and flawless body, truly a delicious body. The so-called stepfather is not an evil soul, but a vengeful ghost. No, it should be it. How many people have been consumed to become so heavily polluted that they have become vengeful ghosts? The rotten meat was wriggling, and those greedy eyes were fixed on Su Ran. Slowly extending countless tentacles from the body, thick blood dripped from the tentacles. At the moment when the induction light went out again, the sound of glass shattering suddenly sounded. The tentacles fell in front of Su Ran, splattering thin blood everywhere. Amidst the fierce roar mixed with anger, the induction light lit up again. The tentacles twisted and struggled on the ground, and the walls were covered in sticky bloodstains. The fire hydrant was broken, and only Su Ran, who was wearing a white dress and blooming blood-colored flowers, stood still with an axe in place in the hallway. Congratulations to Su Ran for obtaining the axe to split open the sin house, a house of sin. This word is very meaningful, and Su Ran doesn't like it. Thick and foul-smelling mucus kept gushing out, causing the rotten meat to struggle and wriggle. More tentacles continue to extend, and the huge shadow seems like a giant spider spreading its body. My beautiful daughter has grown up, and I cannot let others pick fruits. Let me help you become a woman completely, like your mother who pulled me down to hell with her beautiful appearance. Isn't this the future that you have been guiding me to pursue? The long black hair covered Su Ran's eyes, revealing only a faint thin lip. The upward curve carried a hint of joy, and she seemed to understand the content of this instance. The blood splattered on her fair and perfect face, and she once wore a pure white long dress, like jasmine swaying in the wind. Now, like a female killer, she carries a huge and ferocious axe, standing alone under the halo of the Holy Spirit. As expected, how could innocent flowers bloom above evil? The more beautiful things are, the more deadly they become. At the moment when the light disappeared again, Su Ran turned around and ran away. The constantly wriggling flesh was stunned, not understanding why it had to run. If you walk upstairs and encounter something even more terrifying, it's better to be obediently eaten here. But the meatball, which had already lost its brain, would only chase Su Ran and follow her footsteps as she climbed up. Because the body is too large, the speed is not fast. When it saw Su Ran again, she stood in front of the darkness approaching the 4th floor. Moving forward, you will die even worse. Slowly lifting, the white and slender fingers hooked. That enchanting blood-stained face was as tempting as the fruit of Satan, and no creature could refuse. Countless tentacles held up huge rotten meat and flew towards Su Ran, causing a moment of stillness in time and space. My beauty is invincible in the world. Rotten meat was trembling, her eyes were mesmerized, and she watched helplessly as Su Ran disappeared. The snake man's elongated body pulled Su Ran back into the light of the 5th floor, while the snake woman trembled and pinched her boyfriend's tail. When there was a loud roar coming from the basement, she knew that Su Ran had encountered something. But before she went downstairs, she instructed herself to throw the snake man down again, otherwise she would have fought hard and released the woman on the 4th floor to eat everyone in one last breath. I didn't expect Su Ran's rotten flesh to disappear in time, and the inertia of flying made it completely engulfed by the darkness on the 4th floor. Crazy laughter vibrated the entire building. I finally waited for you to come and see me, my dear husband. The laughter was sharp and piercing, and the lights could finally shine into the darkness on the 4th floor. Countless talismans, like a woman in a red dress bound by an iron chain, stood in the middle, affectionately embracing the meatball. Who are you? Countless memories flooded into Su Ran's mind as her blood-red eyes met. The woman in a red dress danced gracefully in the tidy living room, with a graceful posture. The man in a white shirt sat on the sofa admiring, occasionally bowing his head to reply to messages on his phone. The two of them stared at each other, their eyes full of admiration, but Su Ran could clearly see the message on her phone. Dirty chat content, as well as various large-scale photos. The object of a man's infidelity is the mother of the original owner, who constantly entangles and is affectionate and petty. Collaborating with a man's evil hobbies, he indulged in one thing over another, and eventually used pregnancy to force him to divorce. The elegant woman in the red dress couldn't bear her husband's cold violence, endured the humiliation of the mistress's words, and even came to the door with her stomach open to entangle with the man. At a certain midnight, hanging in the living room where they had left countless moments of love. When the man returned home, he only saw his white feet hanging down, and the red skirt swaying with the wind, leaving a beautiful curve. Mother and son successfully married a man, and everyone thought it was the beginning of a happy life. Men, however, fall into dreams, with women wearing red dresses every night. The man who made constant mistakes at work and was eventually fired started drinking heavily when he returned home. He hates everyone, including the daughter who dragged the oil bottle, the newborn son, and the woman who deceived him. After hiring countless masters and experts, the man eventually dissipated his wealth. Even sell the house that originally symbolized happiness and move it into a basement that is not visible to the sun. Women cannot tolerate living in poverty and hooking up with others outside, as they desperately want to break away from this family. Even when she was willing to offer her daughter to a man, she suddenly disappeared, opening her eyes from her memories. Su Ran finally left a sigh behind. Indeed, it is a house of sin, but she knows that the woman in the red dress is innocent. She is an elegant dancer, guarding her once happy family and refusing to leave, ultimately being sealed here by a man. The immense resentment and unwillingness tormented her soul every day. Since you have obtained this man, leave with him and let all the sins come to an end. Su Ran's fingertips lit up a golden flame as she pinched the formula with one hand, and flew towards the man's meaty body, which was filled with mucus, with her voice. In the blazing fire, the woman in the red dress hugged the man and devoured his flesh and blood one by one. The painful roar slowly tore open the night, as if dawn was about to break. Thank you, in countless cycles of reincarnation, my unwillingness has been constantly eroded, and I have finally achieved my wish. With a smile slowly dissipating in the flames, Su Ran picked up her axe again. She still had unfinished tasks, and now it was her turn to open the killing ring. CC, end of this chapter. Chapter 5. Customs Clearance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Customs clearance. Behind Su Ran, carrying a ferocious giant axe, followed the Snake Man and Snake Woman. The two of them crawled in a rustling manner, straightened their waists, and vividly portrayed the snake in human form. After witnessing the disappearance of the woman on the fourth floor with their own eyes, the two of them understood how tragic the outcome of their rebellion was. Join if you can't win. Returning to Gate 101 again, Su Ran struck the door with an axe. A trembling sound slowly emanated from inside the door. I haven't done anything bad, I'm just a voyeur. I enjoy the feeling of peeping into others' lives. That day, your stepfather moved a lot of bricks and cement downstairs on a rainy night. Upon receiving the prompt, Su Ran forcefully pulled out the axe. Going down again, returned to the cold and foul-smelling basement. Amidst the mountains of corpses and the sea of blood, there was a huge black mist enveloping a thin and weak boy. He floated in mid-air without any bloodstains, his almost transparent skin curled together. Like a fetus in a mother's womb, absorbing black mist as nourishment. Upon hearing the sound, the boy floating in mid-air opened his crimson eyes, bloodshot. He stared at Su Ran with great interest, showing a childlike smile. Sister, the whole family needs to be neat and tidy. The spreading black mist continued to elongate from the wall, spiraling up from the soles of Su Ran's feet, trying to strangle her throat. Fingertips with mottled bloodstains quickly pinched the formula, a golden light shining on the black mist. A green smoke with a piercing sound dissipated, and the black mist shrank back into the corner in severe pain. My younger brother gradually stood up, still suspended in the air. The flesh and bones under his feet were his throne, and when he put away his smile, deep resentment surfaced on that tender face. You are the 1369th sister to enter my memory, as well as the most sensitive and powerful one. But nobody agreed to stay with me. I am very disappointed in you all. This game has never had an A.level clearance record, just because no one is willing to sacrifice themselves to become my family. A cold and gloomy feeling continued to strike, but Su Ran didn't mind at all, even slowly tearing open the hem of her skirt and wiping her hands. The final hidden task is to make your younger brother happy. Do you think happiness is someone becoming your sister? Is this really the happy ending you hoped for? Time seemed to freeze at this moment, and behind Su Ran, both the snake men and women showed puzzled expressions. The kindest and weakest person in this dungeon is the so-called sister. She chose the husband of a dance teacher because she wanted a complete and happy family. She once saw the teacher dancing gracefully in the bright living room, and her husband showed an admiring smile. That warm life was the future she longed for. She pretended to be obedient and recounted how her mother endured hardships, sending that vulgar woman to the teacher's husband's bed, causing the two to fall into the abyss. It was she who arranged for the teacher to go home and smash everything. In the memories of the woman in the red dress, although there are many fragmented scenes of the older sister appearing. But she never poured the source of resentment onto that unfortunate child. She is always thin, weak, and innocent, raising her watery eyes to cry, apologizing, and pleading with the teacher not to be angry. But when she suddenly returned home, she said she was sick and very uncomfortable. I hope to rest at the teacher's house because her mother doesn't know where she went and refuses to answer the phone. When she finally moved into her dream home, she found that the tidy living room no longer existed. There is no woman dancing gracefully, nor is there a gentle husband. Only a drunken stepfather, a constantly cursing mother, and a crying younger brother. How can innocent flowers bloom above evil? The more beautiful things are, the more deadly they become. Dear brother, don't you understand? The slender and fragile sister is not a little white flower wearing a white dress. She is the beginning of all misfortunes, the flower of evil that devours everyone's flesh and blood. Su Ran wiped her delicate and white fingers thoroughly, looking at her younger brother with pity on her face. What a group of poor guys, being played with by that so-called innocent person and still craving pity. The huge axe, with a piercing sound, slammed fiercely into the wall behind the black mist, splashing gravel. Under the fragile walls, dry corpses were exposed, and the stench grew stronger. Congratulations to Su Ran for completing branch task 2 and finding her mother. Although she only has a body, her love for you has never disappeared. Love. There is no love in this rotten family, it's really ridiculous. Do you understand now? The mother who wants to escape this family has found a man who can continue to parasitize her. Whether it's you or her, they are all dragging oil, only dragging her towards a new life. I never realized how twisted this world is. In the eyes of all her neighbors, she was an unloved and well-behaved child, ultimately pushing the family into the abyss once again. Close your eyes obediently, hoping that you can find your own happiness in the next life, instead of living forever in a world distorted by lies and constantly being maliciously eroded. You are innocent, don't get lost in the darkness anymore. Use skills. My beauty is invincible in the world. No struggle, no pleading, no hysterical shouting. My younger brother accepted reality in silence. Only a faint sound of crushing her throat was left, and black mist surged towards Su Ran. A faint golden light drifted away, and the black mist trapped on the walls gradually dissipated. The cold body was embraced by Su Ran, and the boy, who had never been gentle before, completely closed his eyes as if he had fallen asleep again. There was a slight curve at the corner of my mouth, and the night was completely over. The light scattered outside the half-window of the basement grew inch by inch. After being exposed to sunlight, the boy's skin gradually became transparent, leaving no traces and disappearing. Except for Aunt Cheng from 701 and Snake Man and Snake Woman from 502, everyone in this building was completely wiped out by Su Ran. Congratulations to Su Ran for completing the main task 1.2. Congratulations to Su Ran for completing the branch task 1.2. Congratulations to Su Ran for completing the hidden task and completing the S.level dungeon completely. This dungeon will be permanently sealed. Congratulations again to Su Ran for successfully passing the preliminary competition and obtaining the qualification to enter the top-tier Internal Entertainment Training College and Class F. The dungeon will be withdrawn later, and the countdown will begin. 3.2.1 The sea of corpses and blood disappeared before Su Ran's eyes, and her figure began to gradually dissipate. She turned around and saw the Snake Man and Snake Woman standing behind her, their previously alienated bodies constantly being repaired. The parts that were once eroded and polluted began to deteriorate, and the two of them were very young and looked good. With a hint of shyness, she waved to Su Ran. "Thank you, and goodbye. Recommended tickets come and send." ****, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Welcome to Class F. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Welcome to Class F. Leaving the dungeon still gave Su Ran the feeling of losing control and making her dizzy and nauseous. Squeezing his fists, he struggled to hold back and stood on the ground the next second. But various chaotic sounds kept coming from my ears, accompanied by screams and curses. Slowly open your eyes and scan around. Nausea. They are all acquaintances. The guy vomiting on the edge of the corridor is a singing and dancing boy group octopus. Super Time Management Master. It is said that Chen Minglang can simultaneously cheat on more than 10 girlfriends. The Hexagonal Collapse Warrior can still be active in front of the screen. It is simply an entertainment miracle. Note: since Su Ran complained in an interview that some artists have too heavy dark circles under their eyes, they seem to have kidney deficiency. Afterwards, Chen Minglang was mocked out of the circle by the group, and the two of them completely fell in love. The other person lying on the ground, still struggling and cursing loudly, is the newly recruited Little White Flower. Debuting with a pure image, Lu Baihe is actually a resource expert who wakes up early as a thug woman. Note: Pure Little White Flower has always been a frequent guest at big shots and dinner parties, refusing to refuse smoking and drinking. After being politely declined by Su Ran at a gathering, citing their incompatible demeanor and inability to dine together. Two people passing by will both spit at each other and say, "Unlucky." Still standing still and rolling down the stairs, it was the changing head male star Zhang Shi who screamed incessantly. Leaning against the wall with a face full of women, it was Li Huohua, a notorious fan seller who relied on stir-frying CP to earn dividends. Crying and giggling, that's Xiao Baola, a cool girl who has become popular in celebrity love shows. The last one, Sun Qian, who struggled to show a smile while leaning against the wall, was the most disliked scholar by Su Ran. Is this an entertainment thriller escape? Su Ran's smile was slightly stiff. This is the biggest gathering of entertainment stars she hates the most. Welcome all students to the top-tier Internal Entertainment Training College. Unfortunately, a few of you are the worst students in Class F of your grade, and I am your mentor, Mr. Meow. Standing on the podium licking its paws, the black cat began to introduce itself, and Su Ran glanced at a few trash behind her. Various dissatisfied people walked into the classroom and casually found a seat to sit down. "Mr. Meow, please. I don't want to participate in any training, and I don't want to become a top-tier superstar. Can I drop out?" Chen Minglang, who kicked the door frame fiercely, had red eyes and no one knew what he had just experienced. At the beginning of the eerie night, he ran wildly around the world. If it weren't for the female ghost letting him off under his sweet words, he would have been torn apart at the time. "Sorry, this student. Our college only has two options. Graduation and expulsion. Exiting as student will be socially stigmatized by the entertainment industry. Are you sure you want to drop out? The black cat slowly lowered its paws, its eerie green eyes fixed on Chen Minglang. What is social extermination? The black cat's paws patted various buttons on the podium, and the blackboard opened to reveal the computer desktop. The PPT content was opened to begin the explanation. The so-called internal entertainment social extermination means that our college will publicly disclose all your black materials, which are authentic and have pictures, such as screenshots of this student's chat records with multiple girlfriends, and high-definition videos of you participating in multi-party parties. We will also find several participating girls to cooperate with the lawsuit. Not only can you withdraw from the circle, but you can even arrange a secure job in the future. Chen Minglang choked up in silence. Is this dropping out of school? This is killing him. So failing the mission here will be erased. Dropping out is socially erased. Losing human rights and becoming a street mouse, the only way to survive is to work hard to enter Class A and graduate smoothly. Teacher, don't worry, I will work hard. Chen Minglang is not inferior to being a leg-splitting maniac. His mouth is indeed sweet. Immediately, he put on a good student's demeanor and walked into the classroom. Seeing Su Ran's stunning profile, he instinctively approached and wanted to make a few jokes. Get out of here, I'm afraid HIV will spread through the air. I've been in the industry for many years but I'm very clean, otherwise I'll beat you up. She punched hard on the desk, and the crack slowly spread as she lifted her fair fist. Chen Minglang, who had originally wanted to chat up a few times, obediently hid in the last corner of the class and sat down. This punch on him could kill him. I originally disliked this kind of person, but unfortunately, I was assigned to a class. Su Ran felt so angry that she wanted to vomit blood, with a very unhappy expression on her face. A few people outside the door heard clearly the terrifying aspect of social extermination and obediently entered the class. Crouching dragons and phoenixes gather together, like chicks, to receive training from all the trash artists in the entertainment industry. If the paparazzi could smell any disturbance in this bustling scene, it would shock the entertainment industry for 30 years. Since everyone has successfully entered Class F, I hope everyone remembers one thing. At the end of each week, they will enter the college for training. Students who fail to advance 3 times in the assessment will still be marginalized by society, and we refuse to let any excuses go wrong. Each assessment is a life or death escape, and everyone needs to constantly improve in order to strengthen the diverse state of the entertainment industry and give back to fans with better works. Mr. Miao, who was serious, began his lecture, with most of the content being assessment scripts. As the level continues to rise, the difficulty will also increase, and each subsequent assessment will have individual dungeons and group dungeons. The competition will be more intense. No, it should be described as more appropriate to describe it as fierce. If the average score of the 3 assessments reaches excellent, one can be promoted to Class E, and so on. Finally, if you get an excellent student in Class A, you can graduate and completely leave this damn place. Hearing that there was a way to leave, everyone's eyes lit up with a sense of impending victory. Only Su Ran is still sulking. Why? Why should she be looked down upon by herself, this group of trash in Class F together? Please, she's Su Ran. The most beautiful actress in the entertainment industry, Nu Wa Bai Shi, is a woman who unifies the entertainment industry by relying on her appearance. Besides, what strength does she have? Perhaps fans and agents are not clear, but the system is so powerful, how could they not be clear? Su Ran, who had never been able to swallow her anger, raised her hand and said, Mr. Miao, I am requesting a re-audit. Why am I in Class F? I am different from this group of trash, there must be something wrong with me. My attributes should definitely not appear here. Everyone looked at Su Ran inexplicably, saying that a woman who was too beautiful had an empty head, and Su Ran should be such a foolish person. Since everyone has entered the thrilling world and started the assessment, Black Miao can now speak human language. What's the possibility? But Su Ran's focus was on why she was in Class F, and she didn't agree. Hee, can you just upgrade to another class if you look beautiful? Who do you think it is? The first one to speak was Sun Qian, who debuted only half a year later than Su Ran. Relying on various sensations to climb to the top, claiming to be little Su Ran, this has made her nauseous. You're a fake. It's better to shut up as soon as possible. Believe it or not, I'll go back to the real world and publicly expose your plastic surgery scandals. There's no need for the college's social media to smear you. I'll kick you out of the entertainment industry as soon as possible. Su Ran rolled her eyes at Sun Qian, who had long been displeased with this fake plastic surgery that aimed at her. There are no journalists, no platforms to buy Navy, and no announcements to be made. Su Ran fully revealed her venomous tongue skills and mercilessly exposed everyone's pain points. Hee, no prototype, refused to bring in. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Returning to Reality. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Returning to reality. Mr. Meow's deep and green eyes looked towards Su Ran, and she could even see regret and helplessness in his cat's eyes. According to the system evaluation, each student's potential value is different, and Su Ran's ability should not appear in Class F. Gently flicking her long hair, Su Ran revealed a jawline that was even clearer than everyone else's career line. Bright eyes, sparkling with a seductive smile. The little black cat continued to lick its paws, as if there was also a hint of sigh in its voice. Because you ranked first in the popular vote, you must start upgrading from Class F. No matter what your potential value is, you are the most wanted to eliminate mediocre artist among all domestic entertainment fans. There is no one. The black tail swayed and accurately touched the button. The PPT content conversion resulted in a voting result for the worst artist in the entertainment industry selection. Su Ran was the first place winner with over 560,000 votes, while the second place winner only received over 90,000 votes. This vote count is almost overwhelming and deserves it. Just now, Su Ran's proud smile stiffened on her face, and she slowly let out a sigh of relief. I will graduate from Class A with the best grades, and I will be an outstanding graduate from the top-tier domestic entertainment training college that no one can surpass. Please believe me, Mr. Meow. Pinching her fists, Su Ran felt for the first time the deep malice towards her from everyone. Although she has poor acting skills, she never takes on any roles. Just occasionally making cameo appearances with a few beautiful women in a vase, this kind of scene with only a few scenes doesn't require any acting skills at all. Her 5 notes are incomplete and her limbs are not coordinated. But she is not a singer, let alone a member of a girl group, so she doesn't need to work hard to improve her professional skills. Su Ran is very clear about her positioning in the entertainment industry, and her beautiful face is the foundation of her character design. So she worked hard to maintain her figure and never dared to take an extra bite of rice. There are only various salads available every day, so stick to skincare. She never stays up late, and anything that harms her beauty is completely eradicated. This is the effort she puts in. Since there are no other issues, today's course is coming to an end, and later we will strip away the world and return to reality. However, we are not allowed to mention anything about the internal affairs of the college. No matter who attempts to expose or share relevant content with the outside world, it will be wiped out. Remember, wiping out is completely detached from the real world and will forever sink into the dungeon to become an NPC. Mr. Meow raised his hand and shook his paws, then tapped the button again. The dizzying feeling of falling struck again, and this time Su Ran continued to endure, holding onto the hotel trash can and starting to vomit. Upon hearing the sound, Assistant Wang Ku quickly rushed into the room and was frightened by the sight of his own artist vomiting profusely. Sister Su, what's wrong with you? Did you not eat at night and feel unwell in your stomach? After feeling something vomit, Su Ran waved her hand and barely propped herself up to open the mineral water bottle and rinse her mouth. The sense of detachment gradually disappeared, and her whole body returned to normal. I'm fine. I just had a nightmare and felt a bit uncomfortable. Just spit it out and I'll be fine. I need to continue resting. Prepare 2 nutritious breakfasts for me tomorrow. Thinking of Mr. Meow's suggestion, if the internal affairs of the academy are leaked, it will permanently sink into the dungeon and become an NPC. Every day, I am experiencing repetitive daily activities, and even thinking about Su Ran feels terrifying, with a slight chill. By the way, let Li Gu know that in the future, I will try to rest on weekends as much as possible. At this time, I have other arrangements. If there is a need to work overtime, it is also possible, but I must be free on weekends to maintain my best condition. Thinking of entering dungeons every weekend, every assessment is a life and death battle. She needs to keep herself in her best condition to welcome her, and she must never be perfunctory. Work overtime. This is a schedule that has never appeared on Su Ran's work schedule. In order to maintain her beauty, she never stays up late, has no nightlife at all, and is so strict that she feels like an ascetic monk. What is it that Sister Su is so prepared? Although Wang Ku was curious, he didn't ask much. 2 people have been working together for years, and there is still a basic understanding. After the assistant left, the room fell into silence, with dim lighting suitable for falling asleep. The quiet and comfortable space still had the scent of incense wafting away, but Su Ran had no intention of sleeping. She took out her phone and began studying the app that suddenly appeared before being taken away. There is only one F character on the blood red app, which should be her permission. After all, she is just a little trash in class F. Open the software and first display Su Ran's personal information. Player. Su Ran, potential. S, level. F, skill. My beauty is invincible in the world. Giving critical hits with beauty can make the opponent follow your instructions for 10 seconds, and each skill upgrade can extend the effect by 10 seconds. Each instance is limited to 3 uses. Intelligence. 5. Physical fitness. 3. Combat power. 6. Lucky score. 1. After experiencing a dungeon, Su Ran's previously unknown values were determined by the system, but to her surprise, her potential was at level S. Dungeon. Sin House, S. Level perfect clearance, reward neighbors for friendship +5, most creatures will maintain a friendly and kind attitude, receive blessings from your younger brother, luck +1, and obtain props. Axe to split the Sin House, can upgrade exclusive weapons. The reward attribute points for this instance are only 1, as Su Ran received an additional 2 points for completing the level perfectly. Su Ran didn't hesitate to focus solely on her physical fitness, she needed more strength. The current attributes are, Intelligence. 5. Physical fitness. 5. Combat power. 6. Lucky score. 0. Looking at Su Ran's lucky value, she couldn't help but feel a headache. Is her life just unlucky? No wonder she was abandoned by her parents since childhood. The old Taoist once gave her a life, and she could only rely on her strength without good luck. The content of the next instance will be grayed out and cannot be viewed. There was no prompt, but the mall system was opened. A wide variety of things are expensive and require points to exchange. Su Ran only completed 1 instance and only earned a meager 10 points. I painfully exchanged 2 points for 10 yellow papers and saved them in the system. Having experienced a lot of excitement that night, Su Ran was mentally and physically exhausted. After taking another shower, I fell into a deep sleep until Li Gu came to my door with the information. Su Ran, who usually only wants to maintain her figure, usually only does simple yoga in the morning. Now she is starting to strengthen anaerobic exercise. She needs to increase her physical fitness in order to better face various unexpected situations in the future. You don't masturbate too much, the trapezius muscle doesn't look good when it comes out. Su Ran, holding a dumbbell, turned a deaf ear and began to shift the topic. What are the itinerary arrangements for today's announcement? Li Gu will reorganize and compress this week's schedule again, and there will be an endorsement event tomorrow. There will be an interview later, and we need to shoot some materials and arrange magazine covers, which can barely squeeze out weekend free time for Su Ran. Upon receiving a satisfactory response, Su Ran happily raised her eyebrows and nodded. The next college assessment will definitely increase the difficulty, with larger maps and more NPCs. It will definitely not be so easy to successfully announce. Double story development, real career and dungeon. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Auditions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Auditions. Pack up her luggage, Su Ran puts on sunglasses and a mask, and goes to the capital fully armed to wait for the endorsement event. Shooting advertisements is not a difficult task for professional athletes. With her beauty and camera sense, she constantly receives praise from photographers and successfully completes her work. Su Ran, dressed in a red dress, had just walked out of the studio, and the reporter had been waiting for a long time. Sorry for keeping you waiting. The soft and sticky voice makes it impossible for anyone to criticize, let alone face this beautiful beauty of a prosperous era. It's okay, we can start the interview now. Two people sit face to face in the lounge, even in a rudimentary place. The slender and beautiful legs were astonishingly fair and tender, and the dignified and elegant posture was arranged before the interview began. Most of the content is already arranged questions, and Su Ran has long been accustomed to it. Fake answering questions and occasionally throwing out a few interesting memes can increase interactivity. The interview is about to end, and I can't help but wonder. Miss Su Ran really doesn't want to develop in the field of drama. Gently tilting her head, her beautiful hair falling down to cover her enchanting peach blossom eyes. I can only see clearly that my red lips are raised, and my fair fingertips are in the middle of my lips. How about criticizing beauties like crazy? I feel like I'm quite suitable for it. Su Ran's usual soft and sweet voice was slightly hoarse, and she suddenly approached the journalist with an eerie light smile. With a slight sigh, he turned around and left, completely immersed in the shock of beauty and the cold and eerie feeling. After Su Ran left, she didn't pay much attention, it was just a journalist interview. Her job responsibilities in the entertainment industry are mainly shooting advertisements, magazine covers, and fashion red carpets. Faced with various interviews, marketing beauty, and occasionally making guest appearances to play the role of a vase. I just didn't expect the last few seconds of the screen to be turned crazy on the internet. All the messages are from Sister Shark Me. Black eyes, fiery red lips, and fair fingertips lightly pressed between the lips. As if stained with blood, savoring it carefully, what a crazy beauty. Sister, take a look at me. I want to be my sister's subordinate for the rest of my life. What kind of crazy criticism of beauty is this? Sister Shark, I am. It has to be said that no one in the entertainment industry can defeat Su Ran in terms of appearance. She is breathtaking and captivating at this moment. Director Su, who was in a fit of rage within the production team, pushed all kinds of materials and after several days of interviews. No one can play the role of his pure and crazy sister, these actors are beautiful and have no soul at all. After losing his temper, Director Su had no choice but to take out his phone and prepare to contact the casting director to find some new actors to audition for. Someone in the group on Green Bubble posted a video about Su Ran's crazy interview with beautiful women. I actually feel that Su Ran has a sister-like vibe, crazy and sharp, but unfortunately it's too beautiful. Everyone's attention is focused on that face. Crazy criticism of beautiful women is really touching. I'm afraid Director Su won't appreciate Su Ran's acting skills. Director Su knows the name Su Ran. Too delicate face is really suitable for big screen, but her acting skills are not good, and supporting role cannot suppress her beauty, so it is easy to dominate. But looking at the fingertips that brushed against his red lips, Su Dao was completely shocked. She is completely the sister in her heart, the appearance of the female lead in this play. Do you have the contact information of Su Ran's agent? Let her audition and I'll see if she can play the lead role. Under the command of director Su, everyone was busy, and Li Gu, who received the call from the casting director, was bewildered. The new work, Sisters, by renowned Chinese suspense film director Su Ji has been a sensation since the day of casting. The main reason is that this is a story adapted from a real case, and everyone sees her as a resilient and pure embodiment. But Su Ji went the other way, hoping that his sister would be the embodiment of good and evil. Director, do you also know Su Ran's acting skills in our family? Can she play the lead role? It's not that Li Gu boasted, Su Ran's acting skills are that you make her cry, she can't cry. You make her laugh foolishly, she will only show the most perfect profile, the wooden beauty is just like that. Ollie, I also feel that Su Ran's acting skills are impressive, but director Su likes her interview and criticizing the beauty crazily is the feeling he wants. Come and give it a try. The casting director was also very helpless, as he had selected so many beautiful and skilled actors from various film and television schools that they all passed. Director Su happened to have a crush on Su Ran, but her shabby acting skills are not even up to par with idol dramas, let alone on big screens. I really don't want to do it anymore. Woo woo, casting director, wanting to cry without tears. Li Gu, who hung up the phone, still felt that the entertainment industry was really magical. Surprisingly, some movie directors would choose Su Ran as the female lead. Baby, director Su just called and wanted you to try the show every day. Su Ran, who was raising her iron, raised her eyebrows in confusion and said, Director Su. Director Su Ji, who made suspense films. She doesn't like watching idol dramas. Su Ji had several good suspense films before. She even won awards abroad and has seen them. I didn't expect such a well-known director to invite me to audition, but I was still the female lead. Yes, Director Su saw your interview today and wanted you to give it a try. Su Ran, who was full of questions, was taken to wash and apply facial mask by the agent and assistant before she knew what was going on. In order to keep her best condition, she went to bed. Until arriving at the film company the next day, Su Ran felt inexplicable. She still plays the lead role at this level. I don't know if director Su is crazy or if the entertainment industry is crazy. Forget it, the world of horror can come to the entertainment industry. What else can't happen? Perhaps her acting skills have indeed been buried, but is director Su a discerning eye? Hello directors, this is Su Ran from our family. She has many shortcomings in her acting skills, and I hope you can correct her. These are all blessings she has earned in her 8 lifetimes. There were many people sitting in the room, and Li Gu brought coffee one by one, hoping that everyone would show mercy. Don't scold and cry your own artist, Su Ran looks weak and deceitful, but in fact, she has a bad temper. It's okay, we just feel that Miss Su's image is very suitable for the role of the female lead. Her acting skills are insufficient, and I will personally guide her. If it really doesn't work out, we won't be selfish. Don't put any pressure on her. Director Su nodded and gestured for his assistant to quickly deliver the script to Su Ran's hands. The scripts for the movies that had not yet started filming were all kept confidential. The only words on the cover were, sister, and a strange feeling swept through Su Ran's body. She quickly flipped through it, always a lazy and comfortable beauty, feeling so nervous and cautious for the first time. This was a look that Li Gu had never seen before. Familiar plot, familiar content, familiar story. Sister, younger brother, disappearing mother, and father who was drunk and abused at home. The trembling sensation made her hair stand up, and this story was clearly a replica of what she had experienced. The foreshadowing, although late, arrives. Sister is here, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. Sister. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Sister, but these are all illusions woven by my sister's lies. The seemingly weak sister is the blooming evil flower that consumes the flesh and blood of the whole family. She disguised herself as a girl who had suffered from the ravages of her family, remained strong, and induced her stepfather to kill her mother before building her inside the wall. So are the stories in each instance true. After graduation, my older sister collected evidence and sent my stepfather, who was inferior to animals, to prison. My younger brother, who was brutally abused by domestic violence, became a vegetable. Even with a meager income, a woman who will take care of her younger brother for the rest of her life and receive countless love and praise. Even many kind-hearted people have contributed money and effort to help her take care of her younger brother together. Something's wrong. She felt deep malice in the dungeon, whether it was the lingering odor in the basement. As his younger brother grows up, he will eventually discover clues. What happened after the discovery of the stepfather and sister incident in that empty room without even a partition? Director Sue, is this story adapted from a real event? With a slight pressure on her fingertips, she pinched the script tightly to ease the unbearable nausea in her heart. Yes, the older sister in the case has changed her name and left her original town. She has now graduated from college and worked for many years, and finally overcame her inner demons to explain these past stories. When she collected evidence and sent her stepfather to prison, she received a lot of help from her neighbors. However, there were too many rumors in the town. After leaving, she worked hard and achieved success before daring to publicly tell the story of the evidence, encouraging many people to face their original families with strength. She even established her own mutual aid club to save girls who were still living in hardship. How can innocent flowers bloom above evil? Sue Rand's lips curled up again, if the instance she had experienced was real. So her sister is really not easy. I am very interested in this script. I don't know which scene director Sue wants to try on. Countless years later, director Sue couldn't help but miss this day. Sue Rand is a female actress born for thriller and suspense films. As long as she opens her eyes, the atmosphere can bring everyone into the plot with fear. The content of the audition is the scene where she induces her father to leave, smashes the rebuilt wall, and finally obtains evidence to send his father to prison. In the audition room, everyone sat on the corner, not wanting to affect Sue Rand's emotions, and even dimmed the lights. Father, I have finally reached adulthood. I want the most beautiful dress, can you give it to me? The light and shadow concealed Sue Rand's delicate face, and the unfamiliar expression was reminiscent of the girl's youthful and charming smile. I will wear this beautiful dress tonight, and I will belong to you, can I? Seemingly in a good mood, Sue Rand pretended to be wearing this beautiful dress and swayed barefoot in the room. Standing on tiptoe under the light, the holy lilies await your harvest, and everyone is shocked by the scene before them. Sue Rand is not suitable for idol dramas. She only despises the domineering CEO who looks ugly. Mary Sue's plot made her toe pick awkwardly. How could it possibly fit into the plot? As Sue Rand danced her skirt, the eerie and fearful atmosphere continued to spread. That is the dance of the red skirt ghost, and her past unwillingness and regret have all merged into her soul. Which man would not be moved by such a beautiful body, including his long-awaited stepfather? After the man leaves, she will slowly squat down and curl together. Her black hair and long hair concealed her expression, and she could only hear a faint cry. But gradually it turned into hysterical laughter, with a tearful face looking up at the wall and angrily raising a hammer. Then she couldn't find her mother and finally appeared before her eyes. Laughter and crying were replaced by her stunned expression. Then he took out his phone and called the police, waiting like a puppet for the police to arrive. Amidst everyone's comfort, Sue Rand suddenly felt a slight curve on her lips due to the heat. After the audition ended, many people even held their breath and dared not make the sound of swallowing saliva. Sue Rand, why did you smile in the end? Standing in the dim light and shadow, Sue Rand couldn't see her face clearly. She was completely calm, with tears on her face and a faint smile on her face. My plan was successful, and the bones of my sealed mother were found. Finally, I can break free from this evil family. Shouldn't I laugh? The mute voice seemed to echo, with a sense of fragmentation hitting the sharp points of everyone's hearts. Sue Ran is completely different from the sister in the original script, but it is also so reasonable. Yes. Finally found evidence of her stepfather's guilt. She's leaving this house to fly freely, why can't she laugh? Of course, Sue Ran had her own answer in her heart. With her stepfather supporting her, who had already reached adulthood, she finally found the opportunity to leave this haunted place. My mother's ultimate purpose has been achieved, and her perfect plan has finally come to an end. Naturally, I want to laugh. Sue Ran, congratulations on becoming the protagonist of this movie. Director Sue led everyone to stand up and applaud. Li Gu, who was as stiff as a chicken, had tears in his eyes and his excited slaps turned red. Wu Wu, who dares to say that our family's Ran doesn't have acting skills? It turns out I found the wrong development path. You are suitable for this kind of thriller and suspense film. Over the years with Sue Ran, Li Gu occasionally felt a bit aggrieved. He couldn't act, sing, win awards, and was always squeezed by his peers. He has been wanting to refute these years, but he hasn't even produced any works that he can handle. Li Gu, who was crying and crying, followed Su Dao to sign the contract and continued to cry all the way to see Sue Ran back to the hotel to rest. Helpless Sue Ran, she still needs to comfort brother Li. Don't cry, I didn't like acting either. This movie is just a coincidence. She became her sister in the dungeon and experienced a purgatory-like life. Seeing the disgusting things she had planned at a young age with her own eyes, I naturally understood her twisted heart. That evening, the official account of Sister sent out the list of lead actors, and seeing Sue Ran's name shocked the entire entertainment industry. Is director Sue crazy? Or am I crazy? Why would this vase be the lead actress? Director Sue, if you are kidnapped, just blink your eyes. Let's crowdfund to save you. What a big joke. Do even the entertainment industry dare to take on the role of a female lead in a movie? This is really the biggest joke of 2023. Hashtag Sister Sue Ran hashtag Director Sue is crazy hashtag the biggest joke of internal entertainment in 2023 hashtag various hot searches exploded, and Director Sue held his phone and smiled happily. Who doesn't like the free hot search? Then arrange for people to silence the audition footage. Some lines cannot be leaked, and can be directly posted online with eerie music. In the dark room, Sue Ran danced barefoot, occasionally bowing down and whispering, as if a ghostly fairy had descended into the world. Knowing there was danger but couldn't help but approach, followed by humble crying, hysterical madness and the ending of Muran, and the final reversal smile. Sister. I can. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. 10, F-Class Assembly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10:10. F-Class Assembly. Watching the trial videos of Sue Ran constantly fermenting on the internet, everyone discovered for the first time the acting skills hidden beneath that perfect face. Sister, this is the sister in my heart, wise, crazy, fragile, beautiful and dangerous. It seems like I've met Sue Ran for the first time. What's wrong with her? Suddenly mutated. Under this wave of promotion, Sisters became popular before being filmed and gained countless attention. Sue Ran didn't have time to be happy, and soon the new dungeon assessment will start on the weekend. Arrange for the assistant to finish work early, and she will stay alone at home with all the lights on. Compulsorily forcing oneself to lie in bed and sleep, the moment when the 0-point pointer jumps is still the familiar distortion of light and shadow and the intense sense of falling. The next second, Sue Ran sat in the seat of Class F. Mr. Meow played with his furry tail and lazily sat down when everyone arrived. I hope all students cherish this wonderful time, after all, everyone is still alive now, and it may not be possible after the assessment is over. The eerie green eyes slowly narrowed, and the cat's paw patted the button. The familiar PPT reappeared. The content of this dungeon is dormitory escape, and each student has their own ID card. The furry big tail swung, and the next second the black ID card swung onto everyone's desk, with a handsome and graceful movement. Pay attention to your roommates around you. They may help you in the end or kill you in the end. Only by completing the main quests can you pass smoothly. Hidden quests have additional rewards, and the students who pass with the highest scores have a chance to win a lottery. Opportunities are rare, so please work hard. Chen Minglang, with increasingly dark circles under his eyes, raised his hand in silence and asked a question. Mr. Miao, can classmates help each other? Chen Minglang is well aware of his lack of abilities. Apart from eloquence, his potential value is the worst. He hopes to have someone to fight alongside him. Of course, after all, classmates can confirm that each other is at least human, but human nature is very complex, and as trash, you probably don't have much trust. Class F's first multiplayer dungeon assessment, starting now. Good luck to everyone. A cold mechanical sound echoed in my mind, and the light once again enveloped Class F, teleporting everyone into the dungeon. A serious woman sat behind her desk, her cold eyes sweeping over everyone. You are new students who have just arrived. Please register first and allocate dormitories. Zhang Shi was the first to step forward and introduce himself seriously in order to win favor. I'm Zhang Erden, from Class F. Hello teacher, where are we going to live? Zhang Shi, who had multiple ulterior motives, dared not say his real name and could only fabricate one. Subsequently, Chen Minglang was called Chen Guangguang, Li Huohua was called Dawn, Lu Baihe was called Baihizi, Zhao Baola was called Zhao Qiangqiang, and Sun Qian was called Princess Qianqian. Everyone introduced themselves very sincerely, until it was Su Ran's turn to shake her long hair. My name is Liang Shang, Angelina, Cherry Snow Feather Hanliang, Bloody Demon, Mei, JQ Luo Li. Omitting about 300 words, Auntie Su Ran's name was barely filled with Su Ran's name after almost filling the entire piece of paper. Everyone. Sleeping trough. Can we still play like this? My name is too long, you can call me Luoli. Thank you for your hard work, sister. Let me help you rub your hands. At the moment of contact, there was only a piercing coldness, and there were still bruises on the skin. However, Su Ran didn't mind pinching it. The aunt in charge of the dormitory, who was called Sister, had a cold expression on her face and a hint of satisfaction. As expected, she was still a good-looking and well-behaved girl. On the first floor, there are only 1,044 available seats for boys, and it's perfect for 3 to have one room. On the third floor, there is another room available for girls, while 3044 has one available room. Choose 4 people, and 3055 has one available seat. Who will be staying? Surprisingly, everyone was not allocated a dormitory, and everyone was very satisfied. It's just that there are 5 girls, and no one wants to live with guys who don't know if they're human or ghost. Sister, do the other 3 rooms in room 3055 get along well? If I live there myself, will I be bullied? Su Ran, who seemed to be excluded by others, shrank her shoulders, and Lu Baihe, as the number 1 green tea for entertainment, despised her in her heart. Stinky and shameless Su Ran, why are you pretending to be a little white flower? Who dares to bully you here? You're almost going to heaven. There are 2 girls in room 3055 who are very well behaved, and one who is not very obedient is fine. She doesn't often go back to the dormitory to stay, so you can go there. Each NPC has their own preferences and occasionally retains students who participate in assessments. Of course, this refers to living beings, evil spirits that carry natural malice towards humans. As for the resentful ghost, it almost loses its rationality and has no possibility of communication. Then I'll follow my sister's advice. I'll go to room 3055. Thank you, sister. I'll pack my luggage and bring you a hand cream later. It's also very hard to keep records. Su Ran's persona is that of a delicate woman, with a large box of luggage behind her. This kind of young lady naturally does not lack skincare products. Leaving the office, everyone had different expressions on their faces. Only Liu Baihe couldn't help but sneer. Su Ran, if you're afraid at night, you can come to our dormitory to make a floor. There is no elevator in the old dormitory building, and everyone needs to carry their luggage by themselves. The boy who wanted to help was also stopped and refused to enter the second floor. All four of you, combined, don't have the same IQ as the downstairs gatekeeper, Husky High. I have a stupid aversion and don't want to live with you. Before Liu Baihe could retaliate, Su Ran had already picked up the huge suitcase with one hand and walked lightly upstairs. Last time, Su Ran added attribute points for the dungeon rewards to her physical fitness. She has gained a lot of strength now and seems to be running faster. The first floor still has mottled light, the second floor is almost plunged into inexplicable darkness, and the deep corridor is quiet without any sound. The girls' dormitory on the third floor is relatively normal, with bright sunshine but no warmth, only piercing coldness. 3044 and 3055 are opposite doors, and I don't know how this house number is arranged. Su Ran gently knocked on the door and said, "Excuse me, is anyone there? I'm a new classmate who moved in." The rustling footsteps slowly moved, slightly eerie. The four people standing behind Su Ran gathered together in fear. "Hello, come in." The door opened with gusts of gloomy wind, and a timid woman stood at the door with her head lowered, unable to see her face clearly. The girl sitting at the table in the distance smiled and waved warmly to everyone. "Hello, hello. My name is Liang Shang, Angelina, Cherry Snow Feather, Han Ling, Blood Beauty, Charm, JQ Luoli." The super long name once again shook the two roommates, but Su Ran casually pulled her suitcase into the dormitory. "Close the door and isolate the four people exploring the other door." A godlike opponent is not scary, she hates her pig-like teammates even more. The four people in the opposite dormitory combined can be considered as gathering all the Wulong Phoenix chicks in the entertainment industry. She would rather die in the distance than bury the future with this group of people. The first group dungeon is here. End of this chapter.